Hello everyone, welcome to Wayne's Homestead Live. This is my first time doing this, so you're going to have to give me a little bit of a learning curve. I guess I've got everything set up right. Let me see here. Let me pull up the chat. There it is. Uh-oh. I have got all... my first screw up. There we go. Okay, can everybody see me okay? It says we have... Let's see. 12 viewers. Sweet. Awesome. Well, I hope that this is not going to be too boring because I've never done it before, but I've always wanted to. This has been something that I've been wanting to do for quite a while. And then we've been watching all the live shows on YouTube here lately. And I thought, man, I got to get in on this. So I don't know why I wanted to try it. Just something that I wanted to do. The first thing is I need to apologize because I put... on my intro, I came inside and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this real quick. And I put, join me at 5:15, not realizing that this will go out to people all across the world in different time zones. So, yeah, so I'm sorry about that. The next time I do it will be better. So let's see what we've got. Florida to Ohio, are you there? Yes, I am here. What's up, USA? Bluegrass Bound Homesteader, awesome. This is cool. Kitty's Homestead, Sugar Run Rabbitry. So I don't really have a plan. All I know is I wanted to try it, and so you guys ask me questions if you want to know something. I did want to bring something up. There's some big questions about my cameras, and one of them is why one of my cameras is the sound's real bad on it. And that is this thing right here. This is, I don't even know what it is. APEC 720p. I bought this off of some guy off the internet for 20 bucks. And this is what I have been using. So this camera is just bad. I mean, it's just going downhill. It's old. I have this one here. This is a GE X400. This takes really good video, but it causes black bars to be on the side because the resolution is different. So I don't like using this. I think it would cause less quality and it would turn people off because of those black bars on the sides. So that is why the sound is bad on this one. It's just because it's an old camera. But I am working on it. I am working on getting the funding to get me a new camera. So there was another question that I got that I thought I might address here, and that is why homesteading? Like, why, first of all, is this something that I just one day woke up and chose to do, or did I do it simply because I created a YouTube channel and I had to have a genre to make my videos on? And the truth is, I have always wanted to do a, if you can aim your camera down a couple inches, that will be a better angle. Let me see, how's that? Is that better? Sorry, it's a laptop camera, so it's not that great. Suddenly Wayne is alive, Uncle Buck. Welcome, Uncle Buck. You always give me a good laugh. So why homesteading? Is this something that YouTube inspired, or that the homesteading inspired the YouTube? And the truth is, I've always wanted to do a YouTube channel because I love that sort of thing, but I didn't really know what I was going to do the channel on. I tried a couple things. One of them was a comedy channel, And because I love to make people laugh. I always have, and I probably always will. Um, you know, I just don't like people being sad around me. I like to make people laugh. And so I thought, well, why not try a comedy channel? I'm not that funny, I realized. I'm not a comedian. There is a banging. Yes, that is my dryer. I'm sorry about that. It has my overalls in it that I went fishing this past Saturday, and I guess I could turn it off, but I really need those dry quickly. If it gets too annoying, let me know, and I will. I'll go and open the door. But it's got them buckles in there, and they're yeah. I'm sure that could be annoying. Oh, what was I saying? Anyway, I lost my train of thought. The homesteading came from basically what I wanted to do is I've always been into the livestock and stuff like that. And I had chickens way before I did a YouTube channel. And then I kind of got out of it. And then I thought, I'm going to go ahead and get back into this. And I wanted to start that. And then I started watching YouTube channels. And then I realized how homesteading was really what I wanted to do. So that is when I decided to start and really build a homestead up, and then take the camera along with me and kind of grow my channel as I grow my homestead, and kind of just take it from start to finish. And then that way, you know, as I learn and as I go, I can take you guys along with me, and then that would take and or that would make a kind of like a documentary kind of thing. So that's why I chose homesteading, is because one, I enjoy it. I love messing with the chickens, and I love messing with the rabbits and gardens and hunting and trapping and all that good stuff. But plus, I kind of regret naming my channel Wayne's Homestead, because I kind of want to do something that way I can do more than just homesteading, because you know, my channel's about everyday living and trying to live a more simpler kind of life. Not necessarily completely self-reliant, because I don't believe that you can be 100% self-reliant, but more self-reliant than depending on the grocery stores, depending on the government, depending on stuff like that, but more depending on your local community, your friends, your family, helping each other out. That's the more self-reliant that I'm talking about. And you know, and not only that, yes, you can change the name of your channel, but I figured since I started with it like that, I'll just keep it as Wayne's Homestead, just to lack of confusion, I guess. I don't know. I'd hate to change it midstream like this, since, you know, most of my older videos say Wayne's Homestead, and I shouldn't have said I regret naming it that. I kind of wish I would have named it Wayne's Place or something like that, because that way I could have done more than just homesteading, which I'm going to do anyway. I just don't want to confuse people, especially new subscribers and new viewers that come in. If they see me doing something way off the cuff, and then and then it says homestead, and say, wait a minute, this guy's crazy. But yeah, you know, this has been like a tremendous adventure for me. I love every aspect of it, and you know, not only the community around it, but also the having fun with the videos, and having fun on the live chats where we're learning about different things. Like, you watch Big Bear Homestead, and he talks about his bees, and that's something that I can't really mess with because I'm allergic to it. And you know, I would love to have beehives, and I've actually considered it. I'm still considering it, if I can figure out a way of making me an ironclad bee suit to where one doesn't get in. And to be honest with you, I haven't been tested since I was a kid, a teenager. So I may have to get retested one day and see if I'm even still allergic, because supposedly your body changes every 7 years. Because when I was a little kid, I used to get stung all the time, never bothered me. Then one time I was outside working, like I do. I think I was 17, 18 years old, and got stung by a hornet and nearly killed me. And they rushed me to the hospital just in time. They gave me 2 shots of epinephrine, or 3 shots of epinephrine, uh, a couple of shots in a very sensitive place um, of cortisone, I think. I don't know exactly what it was, but all I do know is that that hornet almost killed me. One hornet. So I went and got tested up in Columbus, Ohio, and at a allergy doctor, and they pricked my back with a bunch of different things, and they basically said that everything that stings, I'm allergic to, basically. So I can't have bees, but what I can do is watch Big Bear Homestead and learn about bees, and also maybe get a hold of him and barter one day for honey, because I love raw honey. I love it. And unfortunately, it's just something I probably shouldn't have, is the bees. And also, you know, you watch Uncle Buck's channel and he does his foraging when he's able to, and stuff like that, stuff that I'm just not able to do. So you're learning a lot of stuff from a lot of different people. And one thing I love most about this is that other homesteading channels are not in competition with each other. They're not, you know, if you go and say somebody's got a video and you say, man, I wanted to do that, and you go ahead and you post that video too, it's not like you're trying to compete with each channel, because what you may do is different than what I may do, and what I may do is different from what somebody else may do. So that way, you can learn a bunch of different ways of doing the same thing. And I always say in all my videos, the way that I do it is not the right way or the wrong way. It's just the way I do it, and it works for me. And if I can learn a better way of doing it, then hey, I'm all up for it, because I'm not a know-it-all. That's one thing I can't stand, is the know-it-alls, because you know, if you know everything, you can't learn anything. And trust me, I don't know everything, don't even know close to everything. And I'm learning everything I can as I go. So I feel like I'm rambling. You guys have any questions for me? Let me check the chat here. I feel the same way about my channel name. Homesteading can kind of limit a person, but no reason to change now. I agree. I agree that there is no reason to change, because I've grown with this name. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Our kids talked us into our channel right now. It's mostly vlog style with a tiny yard, a tiny house, and we don't have a lot of homestead style footage. Yeah, but I love that name. Simply Circus. Yeah, I love that name. That to me, that always cracks me up every time I see it. Let's see. Home duding, simple trick. Got stung myself when young and face blew up. Hornet and wasp different from honeybee sting. Grocery store hickory smoke liquid, wipe on, and pine smoke. Yeah, John, I agree. A hornet and wasp is different than a honeybee, but then they went and tested me, and I'm allergic to all of it. And I was allergic to dust mites that I found out too. So I've got to take allergy pills for that, and I'm severely allergic to poison ivy that I haven't had for years. And then all of a sudden I get it twice, one in this eye and then a week later in this eye. And I finally got it. I got everything around me washed. So fingers crossed. Let's see. Hey, James Humrick. Shalom, Kathy. Simple Man Steve, gotta go. I'm working a second shift at a factory. Lunchtime is over. I'm glad you got to stop by, Simple Man. I used to work at a factory making semi-doors, and that was horrible. Absolutely horrible. I am not a factory worker, but hey, anything you got to do to make a living, that's for sure. For those of you who don't know, I am a propane salesman. yes, just like Hank Hill, I sell propane and propane accessories. And I'm from the southern tip of Ohio, right by the river. Hey, Nelson Homestead. And right this time of year we're kind of slow. We're just coming out of our summer fill for our budget customers. What summer fill is we offer summer fill at a very discounted price. That way people can get it now, and then they won't have to pay the higher price during the winter because the price will go up. It's the propane market. But a lot of people have a misconception about propane that it is based on the gas prices at the pump, which it's not. There's a completely different market for propane, and you need to really find a good propane retailer that takes care of their customers, because in a lot of places the propane prices are not regulated, which means that unless it's something way out there, there is a place they can gouge you if you're not careful. What are you doing putting your face into poison oak? Sounds like you're living in San Fran with all of our bird poop poison berries. Yeah. I don't know. It was poison ivy because you just don't forget poison ivy. I've still got it on my finger. Hey there, Wayne. Near Marietta? No, I'm more southern than Marietta. I'm down right along the river. Actually, I could probably be to the river in about 5 minutes. So I'm down at the southern tip. Uncle Buck, not a competition unless it's an egg sandwich. Yes, I fold. Your egg sandwich was much better than mine. However, I'm going to improve it, and then we are going to have an egg sandwich cook-off again. We'll be shopping for a propane tank in the next couple of months. We want to buy rather than rent one. Yeah, a lot of people like to buy their own propane tanks. There's some pros and cons to that, though. One, the pros are, at least in our area, you can buy off of anyone. As long as you have a bill of sale and your propane tank is in good quality condition and meets all the NFPA 58 codes, then you can buy off of anybody. And a lot of times those places will give you like a 5 or 10 cent discount on your price per gallon, and that's good. The bad news is, or the cons are, if something goes bad, you're responsible for it, which means you have to pay to have the tank pumped out, flared off, because there's a whole lot of pressure on those tanks. So you'll have to have it flared off with a flare. And then you have to pay somebody to replace the valve, and you have to buy the valve, and then you have to have propane put back in it. So you're responsible for all that cost. Now, if you get one from, say, us, and something happens, we switch your tank out at no cost to you, and then you're free to go on with your business, and it doesn't cost you anything. It wouldn't cost you anything at all, not even a service call, because it's our equipment. So that's something to think about, and whatever area you are in, you may want to contact and see what other propane companies' policies are on customer-owned tanks and stuff like that. Are you allergic to coconut oil? No, I'm not. I'm not allergic to coconut oil. We've actually got some up in the cabinet. I'm along the river, but in the northern panhandle of West Virginia. That means everything that you flush will end up down my way. I always say everything that is flushed in Pittsburgh ends up where I'm at, because it just seems like that river is getting dirtier and dirtier. So, watching as I smoke a good cigar, it's Sunday, and running my propane generator to make sure it's good for fall and winter. Love propane, stores forever. Yes, propane generators are awesome. Now, is that a portable generator or is it a whole house generator? Because the Generac 20K whole house generators, those are awesome. You can hook them right into your power supply, and then as soon as the electric shuts off, just like that, your generator will kick on and run your entire house, depending on the square footage of your house. So Yeah, and you can do it because it won't feed back into the grid and electrocute a lineman. There is a bypass on it, so you can run them even during a power outage. However, as long as that electric is out, those things are running, and depending on the BTUs of the generator, um, you could be going through a tank of gas pretty quick. So there are some cons to the whole house generator as well. Hey, Off the Grid Homestead, how's it going? JRC, thanks for the pros and cons. You're welcome. Yeah, I'm not an expert on many things, but I have to be an expert on propane because people could get hurt if I wasn't. So, but I always recommend that wherever you're at, you always contact a local propane retailer, because there are different policies for different companies. Jason, hey Wayne, is it bad to refill the portable tanks like ones for grills or 100-pounders, or is there a limited number of refills before it needs swapped? The 100-pounders and the 20-pounders, well, it goes like this: 20s, which are your grill tanks; 30s, which are typically onto your campers; 40s, which are also camper tanks; 60s, which go to your pretty big camper tanks; and then the 100-pounders, which are typically used for cook stoves. So you have a 20, 30, 40, and 60, and 100. Now, the way that those things work are they need to be recertified. When they're brand new, right off the shelf, but if you go to Lowe's and buy one, or go to your propane retailer and buy one right off the shelf, you've got 12 years. Every time they are refilled, they have to be visually inspected by your propane retailer, whoever is filling them. So let's say I was going to be the one to fill it. I would take it, check the valve, spray the valve. I'd turn it over and look at the bottom and make sure there's no pitting. And I would check the date on the collar. There is a date. And as long as it was within that 12 years, you don't have to mess with it. After the 12 years, it has to have a 5-year visual. It's a RIN. It's called a RIN number, but it's a visual inspection every 5 years after that. And how you know it needs the 5-year is it will have the date with the letter E beside it on the collar of the tank. So you can have them refilled. As a matter of fact, it's usually cheaper to get them refilled than to take them to an exchange station. And also, they get visually inspected, or they're supposed to. And if they're not certified, typically all you have to do is visually inspect it, spray the valve, check the OPD valve, and then put a sticker on it or stamp it or whatever they do. We sticker them because it's easier. We just sticker it, we write it down, put it in a folder, and there you go. Your tank is recertified. So the long way around to answer your question is yes, it's perfectly fine to have them refilled, so long as they're doing the visual inspections. It's a portable generator, but I do have the relay switch that I can hook to the whole house if the power goes out. That's good. I like those. I like those portable generators. Wayne looks like Bobby Hank's boy. Think they took Bobby from Wayne. Is Wayne's dad named Hank? No. No, but I guess I do kind of look like Bobby, don't I? That boy ain't right. Metal shop I work in, we have a big tank filled, and we have an employee who refills our own tanks from it. Knowing this guy, I go from the other end of the shop. I go for the other end of the shop. Yeah, we have pump stations all over the tri-state area, and one of the biggest things for us is safety. Anybody that has a pump station, whoever is going to be operating that pump station, has to be trained by us. We go out, we give them all the safety information they need, show them how to use it. Of course, the supervisors need to know. And yes, that would be for forklifts. I forgot the forklift tanks. But the forklift tanks are a little bit different than, say, your 20-pounders that you'd use for your grill, because they are liquid tanks, which means when you open the valve, they are going to spit out liquid propane instead of the vapor propane, which would be for your grill. So Yeah, if they're not trained, I would head for the other end of the shop too, because propane will bite you if you're not careful. However, I say that because it is a flammable gas, but the propane industry is one of the safest industries in the entire country because of our safety regulations and all of the research and all of the money and everything that goes into propane safety. So propane safety is a huge priority, especially with our company, but I've never seen anyone really that was lax on safety that didn't get bit. And there has been some major incidences, but it's always been, from what I understand, typically human error and lack of safety training. But here lately, man, propane is the way to go if you want safe, reliable energy, because it's wonderful. And I know I'm biased, and I know because I'm a propane salesman, I'm a branch manager, I have to say that, but it's true. Propane is a great way to go, and typically in a lot of places, it's cheaper than electric and cheaper than natural gas. Let's see, Jason, are you going to get livestock in addition to the chickens? Yes, I am. Actually, here in a few weeks, I should be getting my rabbits. They are going to be for meat, strictly meat. But I also have wanted to get pigs and goats, but I have to start small. I have to just go from one thing at a time. So I haven't decided yet completely if I'm going to get goats. I do want to try to get pigs, but you know, that's for future discussion. And please don't make fun of my princess cup. It makes me feel pretty. Hey, BC. I was hoping you'd make it on. Hey, Iceman. Or Icky Man. Icky Can? Off grid. Sorry, I thought that said Iceman. My eyes was blurry. Let me see here. I think I'm all caught up on questions. Yeah, so I hope that this has been not a too boring of a live show because, like I said, this is my first time doing this. I hope to get better. I hope to continue to do it, but I wanted to, before I even got started, I wanted to make sure there was some sort of want for it, you know, like, does he really even want to do this because is he that interesting? So you guys tell me, is it interesting or am I wasting your time? BC Truck, I have dozens of filled 20s. I keep them in a shed. Any danger there? There can be some danger depending on how full they are and how close that shed is to any kind of open flame. Typically, you're down south, so typically in the south, you have really, really hot summers. Well, you put all your propane tanks in a shed, and as they get hot, the gas inside of them expand. Well, on the back of the valve is a pressure relief valve. So if they build up too much pressure, they're going to release that pressure. Now, really, as long as there's no open flame, then you really won't have a problem. You'll just fill your shed up with vapor propane or liquid propane, depending on how full they are. But still, that's not safe. So that's just something you're going to have to watch out for. You know, typically we don't like to keep any kind of propane cylinders at all inside unless they are completely empty and they've been purged. So that's up to you, BC. You may want to see how hot they are, how hot they're getting, and anything like that. So let's see. Haley126, hey there. I really enjoyed the propane info. Good, because that's really all I really know. Not everything about, but that's really what I can say with confidence is the propane. Don't forget in 15 minutes. Yes, Alderman Farms comes up in 15 minutes, but I'm not part of the Homestead Network. I just wanted to do this. So I will be shutting down in 15 minutes so I don't take any people away from them. I just wanted to kind of get a judge and see what you guys think of whether or not I should make this a regular thing. I don't know if I'll be able to do it at a certain date every time, because I do have some stuff that I'm doing here, especially on the weekends. But it is something that I want to continue to do periodically. Um, so keep all propane tanks outside, correct? Yes, that is a good rule of thumb. If you've got especially full tanks, I would keep them outside. And there are, and I might do this in my next live show, I'll get my serviceman's handbook out, because there are different places you can keep them, such as they have to be 10 feet away from a house, the big tanks, the big yard tanks, the 100-pounders that sit up right next to your house, they have to be a certain feet away from a crawl space, certain feet away from an air conditioning unit, any kind of underdraft, anything like that. So, yeah, I might do that on the next live show. I'll get my serviceman's handbook out if you guys are interested in that, to let you know. But yes, rule of thumb, keep all your propane tanks outside. That is not a good idea to keep them inside. I've actually known people that would take one of those little buddy heaters, the 2-burner buddy heaters that sit right on top of a propane tank, and they would keep it inside their house. And that is just not a good idea. They were using it as supplemental heat inside their house. So that's not a good idea. Having a propane tank full of propane with an open flame sitting right on top of it. Those things were not meant to be for residential use. They were meant for commercial use. They were meant for construction use out on the road during construction times and stuff like that, to keep the guys warm. So, yeah, that's not a good idea. When in doubt, use common sense. If you think, man, this just doesn't seem right, it's probably not right. Let's see. I'm catching up here. You could do a whole show on the wonders of baloney. Yeah, that's because I'm full of it, BC. Wayne, wife wants an underground tank. How big is the concern with seepage in the Midwest, wet springs and snowy winters? That could be a concern. Typically, you really have to go with what your kind of soil is. Like, I have real clay soil, so mine would be fine. An underground tank is good. There are a lot more regulations that go in with an underground tank. For one, they have to be hooked up to what's called an anode bag. That anode bag is a self-sacrificing bag that produces a millivolt. That millivolt actually produces a current on the tank, which repels corrosion. So that has to be installed with your underground tank. That underground tank is then hooked up to the anode bag, and then it is tested right then and there. Then it is tested, I believe, 90 days, 3 months after that, and then 1 year after that, and then 1 year thereafter, forever. And the reason you have to do that is because the anode bag, like I said, is self-sacrificing, so it has to be tested every year. If you don't test it for 5 years, and then you go and test it, and it's not working, you don't know how long that tank has not been protected. So then you may end up having to dig that tank up. But yeah, you do have to, there are some considerations of seepage. Me being in the Midwest myself, we have underground tanks all over the tri-state. Never had a problem, so long as the anode bags are hooked up. You shouldn't have any problem. There is sometimes a problem because you have to build the soil up around the riser where the valves are, because you don't want your riser filling up with water. I have seen that before. They've been completely full of water because they haven't been able to completely seep out the way they're supposed to. But yeah, underground tanks are great if you can afford them. Then yeah, those things are great. Very interested in having a 1,000-gallon tank out and having a 250 out in the yard. How close can it be? No crawl space, no air conditioner. It has to be, if you have a 1,000-gallon tank, it has to be 25 feet away from your house, 25 feet away from a septic, and at least 10 feet away from a property line. The 250 has to be 10 feet away from your house, 10 feet away from a septic, and 10 feet away from a property line. 10 feet away from any kind of ignition source, anything like that. But the 1,000-gallon tank would run a lot, so you may not need 2 tanks. Do the same as states regulate for gas stations with concrete or concrete block walls, concrete floor, and upper lid. Should be fine with grounding wire as well. Open ventilation. Yes. I have a butter poltergeist. BC, you're funny. You crack me up. My arteries are so hard I can hammer nails with them. I feel you. I've been deep frying a lot of stuff here lately. I need to cook something a little more healthy, but darn it, I can't bring myself to do it. So, oh, this is great. So I'm caught up on questions. If anybody's got any more questions, let me know. There is 29 viewers. Wow, that's cool. Let's see. So yeah, you guys let me know if this is something you want me to continue doing. I wanted to kind of get my feet wet with it and see how you guys liked it. Also, if you do want me to continue doing it, underneath this video, why don't you post some suggestions on what you want me to talk about? Now remember, I'm not an expert on homesteading. I'm still learning. So just bear with me on it. But if you want to know, if you've got some questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. Jason Wayne, do you deer hunt? Can we look for some vids on that this fall? Yes, I plan on doing deer hunting this fall. Problem is, as many of you deer hunters know, being quiet is a pretty big rule. And so I don't know how well I'm going to be able to videotape me deer hunting, spending hours in a blind, waiting on to get me some red meat. I am planning on doing a lot of squirrel hunting, which is not as intensive, which you don't have to be as quiet. And I'm also going to do some trapping with squirrel, because squirrel hunting in the wintertime for me is hard because I'm working a lot. So I like to set traps and let them come to me, because the trap's always hunting. Unless it's triggered, and then hopefully it has a squirrel in it. And then I plan on doing some squirrel hide tanning and stuff like that. I'm going to try to make a squirrel cap, something, I don't know. I've never done it before, but I can sew just a little bit. So I thought maybe I would try and do a squirrel cap kind of thing. But yeah, so there's 5 minutes to Alderman Farms. So I'm going to go ahead and end this now. That way you guys can jump over there. In a blind is where I've gotten my best naps. Yeah, there's nothing like sleeping in the woods. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I hope to do this again sometime. But if you guys have any suggestions, let me know down in the comments below, and we will give it a try. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for joining me, and I'll talk to you next time.